was then finally finished some 49 years after they came back to Israel from Babylon. And so it's all about revival, him reviving his work in the midst of the years. So he revives. In Zephaniah, he is the gatherer of his people, Israel. And that whole book, a lot of that book is centered upon him gathering his elect, gathering his people, bringing his people back to the land. And this concept, of course, is all through Scripture. I mean, we see it in Ezekiel, we see it in the Gospels, we see it in many other places, but Zephaniah is almost primarily concerned with that theme of gathering his people, like a shepherd gathering his flock. In Haggai, another minor prophet that we probably don't read a lot, he is the one who requires purity. Remember in the Gospels how it says in the Beatitudes, only he who is pure in heart will see Yah. And this is directly from Haggai 2, verses 11 through 14. But the theme of this book, short book, is about how we need to live holy. We need to live with a pure heart. We need to be seeking after him with everything in us, because that's what he requires. That's what he wants of us. That's what he. That's what should characterize his people as purity. In Zechariah, which is one of my favorite books and one of my favorite themes, he is the one who rules as king from Jerusalem, or Yerushalayim, causing all nations to come up for the Hebrew feasts. And of course, we read in the last chapter, chapter 14 of Zechariah, how one day in the future, Messiah will rule and reign from Jerusalem, and all the nations of the earth will be required to come up for the Feast of Sukkot. And if they don't come up, then they will receive no rain. So Zechariah tells us what he's going to be like when he's king. Now we come to the last book of the so-called Old Testament, and that is Malachi. And Malachi, he is the son, and it's actually spelled S-U-N, son of righteousness. And he has healing in his wings. Amen. And that healing in his wings is a direct colloquialism in reference to the tzitzit. When we wear the tzitzit on a katan especially, you have these wings that are formed. And this is why when the woman with the bleeding grabbed Messiah's tzitzit, she was healed, because she knew that there was healing in his wings, that she knew about Malachi. So he's our healer, he's the son of righteousness.
Do you have any idea why God waited 400 years to speak again?
Why he waited 400 years between Malachi and the Gospels?
He divorced it.
Well, you know, he was active, because he was active in helping the Maccabees in that intervening time. So, I mean, he was involved and active with Israel. Why did he wait another 400 years? I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just in the tidings of the Father.
There may have been other prophets, they just weren't loud enough to get written about.
Yeah. I know the Messiah had to have been born in the 4th millennium, because the 4th day is when the sun, moon, and stars were created. So when he was born, it was right toward the end of the 4th millennium. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I don't know, it's a good question.
Midst of the week.
Yeah, right in the midst of the week. Okay, congratulations, you made it through the Old Testament. Now we're in the New Testament. So this is really neat, because the 4 Gospels show different aspects of who Messiah is. So in Matthew, of course, he is the Messiah. And many references are made to him being the Messiah. In Mark, which is more of an action gospel, it's a very short gospel, it highlights a lot of his miracles. So it highlights what he does, a miracle worker. So, you know, here we see who he is, he's the Messiah. Here we see what he does. He's the miracle worker, and it talks about all of the things that he did. In Luke, Luke is tied to Ezekiel because in Luke, the Son of Man, that phrase is used over and over and over and over again in that gospel. And then in John, he is the Son of Yah. So Son of Man in Luke, Son of Yah in John. So it's just amazing how all of these four gospels show different aspects of who he is, and yet they all tie together. In the book of Acts, he is the one who immerses us in fire. So this, of course, is all about the fulfillment of what we read about in Joel. It's the fulfillment of Shabbat or Pentecost, where we're baptized in the fire of the Holy Spirit. And that's what the book of Acts is all about, is being immersed in his fire and then what we're able to do when we have that baptism of the Holy Spirit. In Romans, he is the establisher of the true faith which strengthens the Torah. And that is found in Romans 3:31. So we read about how Paul says that the true faith makes strong or establishes the Torah. And I think this is often missed by a lot of Christians. I know it was missed by me when I was a Christian. I had no idea Romans made reference to the Torah, but it does. It says that true faith always will strengthen or establish or make strong the Torah, his law, his commandments. Which I think is a very beautiful thing. And that's how we can know what true faith is as opposed to a counterfeit faith. All right. In 1st and 2nd Corinthians, he is the giver of the Ruach, giver of the Holy Spirit, so kind of similar to Acts. But it kind of goes into more of the purposes of why the Holy Spirit is given. It's to edify the body of Messiah, and also is given to convict the wicked. So the Holy Spirit is given to us so that we can, it talks about the 9 gifts of the Holy Spirit. These are to be used to help build each other up, build the body up, encourage us, but it's also used when we evangelize, when we talk to our friends and family to convict, because remember, we can't convict, but the Holy Spirit within us can convict people of their sin. And that's how people are brought to Him. In Galatians, he is the one who breaks the yoke of man-made traditions. Or in the case of Galatians, Talmudic traditions. But man-made traditions, bringing us back to the purity of Torah. And of course, Galatians, when it's properly understood, this is probably one of the most misunderstood books of the Bible in Christianity, but when it's properly understood, we understand that it's Paul trying to get the people to do away with the traditions of the fathers, which were Jewish Talmudic oral law traditions, and come back to the simplicity of obeying him and obeying the Torah. So Galatians is a great way of saying how we're to come out of the man-made traditions like what we were talking about last night and come back to simplicity of obeying him, keeping his commandments.
I can't hold them.
In Ephesians, he is the bringer of the Gentiles into Israel by his precious blood. And we read about that directly, that we who sometimes were far off and were strangers to the covenant are made nigh by the blood of the Messiah. So through his blood, we can be grafted into Israel. And Ephesians, that's the main theme of the book of Ephesians. Philippians. He is the one who supplies all our needs, according to his riches and his glory. That's where that good song comes from. Supplies all my needs according to his riches and glory. So Book of Philippians is all about that. He supplies everything that we need and helps us to